Okay. Light is bad by that. We back at it. Should be four. Should be three, but it's gonna be four. Okay, like, I'm gonna talk about my schooling. So I went to school the first time. Did my sub standard A, sub A back in 1979. The school that I went to was called Mornay Bantu School. I don't know what it's called now because I had an opportunity to go see that. This was back in 1979. So the next time I went to that school, I only went there for 1 year and a half, 79 and 80. Then I didn't go to school the whole of 1980. But so because we moved to the other farm, way on the other side now of the Soiza, you know. So for some farm mental reason, my people could not get the remove and would just take us to school immediately. You know, it was just a spare of a moment when my dad and his peers decided to say, you know, like, we're done here and we're leaving. So yeah, so just in the middle of the year, my dad, they moved, and when we moved, we have to stay the whole year before going to school. So the next time I went there was in 1999, basically. How many years later? 79, 89, 20 years later. Yeah, 20, 30 years, man. Yeah, so I was just there to, school was the same, it never changed. Yeah, there's a election officer for the African National Congress, in 1989. So yeah, in 79, 80, we're doing that, and then 80, we're not going to school no more. Then 81, we went to Mamusa Primary School in Swais. You know, like, I have to travel like 10 Ks now. Because let me tell you first, you know, the first one, the one at Mornay back to school, we had to travel, I can't tell the distance, but it's too far, man. We used to go through the fields. We'll go through the fields, you know, many fields, one field, next field, you know, just to go to school and stuff like that. And the white people, at least, they used to allow us to go, but they will make a road in the field, you know, just, you know, instead of going fire, we go through the field to the other side. Yeah, so like, yeah, the next school was Mamusa Primary, almost when I was supposed to do study, I mean, sub B. So there, I remember there was a mistress, Mem Matlare, who gave us a test immediately, you know, on the spot. That's the word, that one, on the spot, to just check whether we were not, I don't know, whether she thought people would have made us go to sub B before we finished, you know. So she took us through some arithmetics questions, you know, like 1 plus 1 times 1, 1 times 7, 7 times 1, what? And it's me, it's my uncle, and my aunt, you know. First of all, I didn't tell you, man. Let's take it back. So, like, because I was young, according to, and I was the only child, I was the firstborn, my moms decided to take my two siblings to come and accompany me to school, and then that's how we ended up with my uncle Chosen and Aunt Mangi, you know, Uncle Joe, not Jones, Joe. So we ended up, they took me, they went with me. Now, Uncle Joe was a little bit older than me. They wanted to get my other uncle, Uncle John, but my Uncle John liked the farm so much, you know, but I think he was also so much closer to my grandpa, so he didn't want to come. So we ended up, the older sibling, you know, was, my uncle is 66 and Jan is 68, I think. You know, Mike is 71. So yeah, man, so yeah, that was the thing. But then we went to Mamusa again. So after that test, you know, I almost failed the test. Almost failed the test, even because I had to think a little bit, because I was not so sharp. I had to think a little bit, you know, and then, you know, my father says to me, you almost failed. Just like that. I have a remove that shows, man. So it's like you almost failed, you see? So okay, so we went on. So it was always good. My uncle was always number one, you know, in Mamusa and stuff like that. But so we cruised, you know, through Mamusa, and then we went to Kolom higher primary, which was funny, you know, like. So when we went to Kolom, they didn't have a school then, so it was platoon system. So every time we leave our school at 12, then the people from Colombo were doing like from standard 3, 4, and 5 will come through and platoon system. I think from that 12 o'clock until 4 or so in the afternoon. Yeah, so yeah, so we went to Colombo. The funny part was when I was doing standard 2, I used to see this small girl, you know. Small girl would be like, she was doing standard 3, you know, in Kolom. I'm like, yo. So it's like, and then the funny part was when I went to Kolom the following year, she's there. She's my classmate. Funny. Yeah, so then we cruised through Kolom, and then went to Ipeleche. And guess what? So like, almost I went to Mamusa because like we platooned in Kolom, we went to Mamusa to platoon. So what happened was then, I think in '86, when I was doing standard 5, the elders in the Pelagin, they banned their school during the last push of apartheid, you know. So they banned the school. Once they banned the school, the following year people were platooning again. And guess where we platooning? We were platooning again at the Pelagin. So I mean at Mamusa. So again we had Mamusa, 12 o'clock. You know, but the good thing is like look, I think when we did standard 5, that's when we get our new school in Kolom, and then we didn't finish Ipeleche in '87, and then we got our new school. It was being built in Ipeleche, so we started 6 then, and we cruised, man, never failed until we finished in 1991 at the age of 19. Yeah, that's me. Always top 10. Always top 10. I was always top 10. That's cool. Always top 10. Always. I don't know. I was even number 1 at one time at Ipelageng, and we were doing that at 6. You know, I remember my favorite teacher, Mr. Edwin Hartley. He didn't know us, so at one time when we were there in June, I was the only one who could get an answer right in the maths, and he was like, "What? Who are you?" And I was like, "I'm there." He said, "Come here." Put me on top of the table. It's like, "Look at this guy. This is your number 1." And you know, at that time, and my shoes were like so broken. You know, I was broken. I had to put some. A sail or something underneath there, so the shoe was broken. I was sitting on top of the table. It's like, yo, look at this guy. This is your number 1. You know what I mean? It's always feel goes to be number 1. Yeah. I was number 1 that time. Yes, I did become number 1 again, you know. One time, yeah. It's good to be number 1. It's one love, Darkwhy.